Good morning, traders. Welcome to our daily webinar. This is like about the third or fourth sessions for the day. I'm going to record the cryptos and then we're going to go from there. So let's start with Bitcoin. Let's go Bitcoin. Yep. So if you watch this morning session, you would know that we're going to have 1 week free webinar starting next Monday. Please share the link to everyone you possibly know that trades everything, crypto, stocks, anything. You will have a chance to ask questions as well when you come there. So the link is going to be under this webinar in the description, right? Please share it. Let's go. So Bitcoin broke out, nothing new, nothing. Once it started to consolidate here, we knew that there's a chance it's going to break out. That was very clear. But we're going to break the low. So now we know we're going to break the low. It's pretty easy, right? If you look at this is classical. This is not a, once we saw this, we were like, this is strange that it's going so slow. It's very likely going to drop. It broke this. This is a sell if you're selling. If you can sell, some of you can sell. You can sell here, you can sell there. And then, we're going to break the low. For those who are looking long term, again, once you break the lows, once you're breaking the lows, we start to look for buy setups. If the buy setups become a break even, no problem. So you break the low, it will reverse. We look for buy setup. If those buy setups just do this to drop again, we will get out. This was a buy setup here, right? So you always look for buy setups, and then it might become a break even if they consolidate again, right? So you take the break even, then you get back and you buy lower. It's the same thing here. The idea is that on the bigger picture, let me just do this very quick. The idea is on the bigger picture is that this is going to go back up, right? Even if you think it's going to collapse and it's going to be nothing, I mean, I don't want to get in that argument again. We all have our views on what crypto is, and we know, and some people are religiously believe this is going to be the future. I'm not in that group of people. I religiously believe this is going to fade away, right? Eventually, all cryptos are going to fade away. They will just be memory at some point because there's going to be something new to replace them, right? We know that. If you don't, well then. And like I said when we were at the top here, time to sell. Go back, watch that webinar at that date around this area here, and you'll see how we say when you break the top, time to sell, because they normally come back to retest this low. We retest the low, and that's time to look for buy setups. We bought, it came down, we bought, it came down, which means we're selling back. We're not keeping it. Our strategy of trading is not holding on to it. If it doesn't go, you get rid of it. And my traders do that in a much lower time frame. They get rid of things in 5 minutes and 15 minutes. So basically what I expect is that this is going to break the low here, but then at some point we start going back up, and we would try to retest that top. Generally, if this is all, I don't think this is all the correction, depending on how you look at this whole structure. If you look at this one, you can make an argument of whether you would look at it like this, right? Whether you would only look at this piece, whether you look at this as a separate one. That's a separate argument. That's the theoretical argument of how you see patterns and what you look for in any pattern, right? But practically, nothing goes up forever, nothing comes down forever. So if this will still stay alive as something, it will drop and it will start to go back up, right? We'll start to get that. Of course, you're going to get a flag to buy here. You might even get a deeper correction here like this, and then we buy and then it goes. It's going to make deeper pullback as it goes, right? It's not going to go in a straight line. That's why it's called wave analysis. Now, here's the good thing about it. Once it drops here and we get a buy setup here, we're going to stay in that. If it still do this, guess what? We get rid of it and let it drop again. If it fades away, you will get back your money. And that's the advantage of this type of analysis, is that it gives you the chance to get the hell out of it if it's not going where you want it to go. So you don't have to stay with it. And if it collapses, well, that's without you. But if it takes off, you're in the trade. And since we're at the low, we should look for that. Let it drop, break the low, and then we go with it. Go back to the 4 hour. We don't trade in the weekly. That's just to show you it. We don't even trade in the 4 hour. I'll let this drop, break the low, and then we look for a 1 hour buy. If you're selling and if you can sell, depending on where you're, which exchange you're using or how you're trading, what accounts you have, you can sell it. If you can short it, that's okay. The same should be for almost every single one of them. There were only one of them or two of them that had buy setups. They wouldn't have triggered if they didn't go. We were buying this going up, so you would move your stop. You're definitely out of this. I don't care where you put your stop, the break even or what, but you should be out of it. This is a sell, and there's a very high probability this will also come break the low. The same for this, right? This flat here, and then it dropped and made one there. Drop is going to break the low, and then from there we're going to see whether this was one of its own This is a bigger one. Then it's going to drop here. We're probably going to do a reversal. We get a flag. We start buying. What's the bigger picture in here? I'll show you the bigger picture in everyone since this is a separate webinar. Well, this one could break this low. I think maximum we'll probably go and break this low. There's a possibility you can break that low because I think this is lower, right? So there's a possibility we can break that area before we go back up. You can look at this as a separate correction of its own, this whole piece here, right? As a separate correction up there, right? You can see the big flat in there. So we're doing this now, going down to make a new low. So I don't know that they make a deep correction like this has in here. See, there's a big correction in there. I don't know that this stops here, make a big correction like this here, and still drop down before it goes back. Well, not so deep, sorry. That's in the minus, right? I don't know that it does that. It doesn't have to do that, right? It can do this. It can make that into the impulse, which means they can drop here, break this low, go back up really sharp, you know, make some consolidation here, come back, retest the low, and then go. Right? That's a possibility, not a necessity. This can just come here, finish this move, and then take off. We would make an assumption that this is the big flat. And then we go back up for the next impulse up. Right? So if you manage to get the low, the chances are you can get it to retest this top. If the pattern goes the way we expect it to go. If it doesn't go, you're going to get the hell out of the trade. You're trying to buy this thing somewhere around, I don't know, between 1.7 and 0.2. Get it somewhere in here, 1.1. It doesn't go, you exit. You buy it lower. It doesn't go, you exit. You buy it lower. If this is the turning point and we're coming back up, great. We're coming back to retest what? I don't know, 28. I don't know, even if you get it at 1.7, 1.5 to 28, I think that's good risk to reward. That is amazing, right? So you want to get into that and stay with it once it goes, but you will put it to break even. So if they drop, you're out of it. And if you want to see how we do it, because we've done this before, we've done it in many of them. If you want to see how we do it, join us in the live session. You'll probably get a chance to see it if they turn then. Let's see. XRP, again, you're coming to the lows, right? I don't know which is the low here. I mean, I'm not interested in this low. I'm interested in this impulse down, which would be the lowest point here, right? That's the one we're interested in. So if we're thinking of this as all the correction, this whole piece here is all the correction. If you're thinking of this, if you're thinking of this piece only as the correction, and this is coming down for that, then we will break this low. We might break this low. We don't have to, but it could stop here and go back up like this, make this the correction, and then come back here, break this low, and then go. Right? So even if you're coming back to this level, which is 2, and you're buying for 0. What? 0. I don't know, 0.3. I think that's good risk to reward, right? If you get it 0.3 or 0.25, you're doing well. That is good risk to reward. So you wanted to break this low here and then look for the buy setup, which is literally coming to break this low. And then we will look for a trade from under here. Not exactly under. We're not buying, but just when it breaks, we're waiting for it to break, give you an impulse, give you a flag to the upside, and then we start buying. And the same go for all of them. I don't know, I can continue showing you them, but that would be useless. This is if you want to sell. We're not interested in the sell. We're waiting for it to break this low. Right? If you wanted to sell, there's still a flag there to sell, but I'm interested in let it break the low, then we go. You can literally see that. This one is already dropping. It will break this low, then up. This one is dropping. This will definitely break the low. This one is coming down. We know this one is a little strange because when we break this low, it did what I expected to do. It's coming down back like this, but we still have this piece up. That could be, if that was a separate correction of its own, then we probably would have gone deeper, not just tipped the low. So I'm looking at that as a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then go back up there for another 1, 2, 3, then drop, break the low, and then. So there's a possibility that we might not just take off immediately. That doesn't mean that some of them can't go up and consolidate for a long time while this go up and drop and then start to go back up, right? They don't have to have exactly the same patterns in them. Bitcoin can go up and do this for forever until this drop here and go back up, and then they all go up, right? So they will create different patterns as they go. But watch it break the low. I think we will buy when it breaks the low because it still has to go back up to this level, right? It still has to come back and break this top. Remember when this drop sharp didn't break the low and it started to do this, we were like, okay, that would probably be a running flat or regular flat. In this case, a regular one because we didn't break that top. We'll come break the low here and then go back up and then come down back. So if once it breaks the low, we look for the buy setup. Yeah, this one is nothing new. We knew this one was going to happen once we got this big flat. See, they created 1, 2, 3, came down back sharp. You could have sold if you wanted to sell. That was a sell. It's coming down pretty low. I should say I didn't think it was going to go that much low. We know we'll break this low, but you never know how low they're going to go. And this thing is in the 0, 0, 0 something. You know, it's very low. It's in the 0, 0, 6. So I don't know. If you want to buy it, wait for a setup. You don't have a setup to buy. As a problem. So how low can it go as a bigger picture? And I don't have anything more, so I don't know where it was previously. You have to give me the chart to see if it was here before. If you guys tell me which one, I'll check it, but I don't know. So far, it's coming down. That's all I can see. But it had to go up. I guess at some point before the IPO, they were somewhere at 0, and then they went up. So we had to have had an upside to it. Yep, let it drop. Wait for your setup. Buy. Let's go. This one was classical. This one wasn't really too difficult to tell what it was going to do, right? This sort of correction there, you're dropping. Here's the thing here with this. This is the piece that I'm a little worried about, which means this could be 1, 2, 3. You could go back up there and then drop here. And even if you do that, we still have this. So there's a chance we can go back up there, make a running flat, and come back here. So if we're not looking at it like that, and let's say this actually goes and break the low, then we will have to see how we fit this and all of this into it, whether all of this makes sense for a correction of its own. I don't really like it for a correction of its own. So I think we might have more consolidation in here before we eventually go up. Oh, sorry, this is already something else, right? So oh no, this is a crypto. This one is coming down. We thought this was the only one we thought could break out, because you had this consolidation at the top there, that could break out. But it just keeps coming down. No problem. Break the low again. Come back here. Break this low and then go back up. This was just a slow thing. But if you had a buy entry above the top, you shouldn't have been worried about it. If you had a buy entry here or here, it didn't tag you. That's all. You don't have to worry about it. Let it drop. Can this be going up slowly like this? I don't think so. I've never seen an impulse looking like that. It's not that it's impossible. What if this is the one creating a new pattern of how slow it can go up? But normally they don't do that. Normally impulses are really sharp. You can see the previous impulses up. They were sharp. They're really sharp. They weren't that slow. You could make an argument, let's say from this point it was slow. Let's see if that's the lowest point. Let's make sure we're getting it correct. Nope, that was actually part of the correction. So this was it. This was the low. They actually went up fast, right? It wasn't this slow. See that flatness there? It wasn't like that. This piece here was slow, but that's part of the correction, right? That is part of this correction. If you go with 1, 2, 3, it could have been part of this correction here. And that is why it's very slow. So this move down is coming to break these low, which we already broke. Probably drop here, then go back up. So it doesn't matter which one you pick. Literally, I think it doesn't matter which one of the cryptos you pick. You will see that they're all at the low. And for those traders who are screaming at me and wasting their time commenting, but I have no idea what I was talking about, and all of these things are the future. I hope you didn't bet on that being the future. I hope you had the common sense to at least get the hell out of it at some point. If you're holding it, at least have the common sense to still hold it. Don't give up. Now is the wrong time to give up. And traders tend to do that. They will hold at the top here and they'll give up at the bottom. Well, it's at the bottom. So if you still have it, just stay with it. If it collapses, it collapses. You're bad luck. But I think now is not the time to give up if you're still holding any of the cryptos. I mean, especially if you're holding it in a downside, just survive it, because at some point they would make a spike up. Even if they're going to collapse, there might be a spike up before it collapses, and that will give you a chance to exit for profit and get the hell out of it. If you understand how patterns behave, you'll probably see when to exit. So that's it for the cryptos. Again, once again, reminding all the traders, please help share these videos and register in the link in the description, because next week you will have 2 sessions. By the way, the link is 1 link only. So the time of when you register, you're registering as for 1 video, 1 thing, right? But you're going to have access to 24-hour open links, which means you will have access to join any session once I'm there. And I will be there 8 a.m. London, 8 a.m. New York. It's in the description. I hope it helps everybody. Thank you guys very much. And thanks to my traders here for your patience. I'll close it now and see all of you.